Okay, well, thanks for that introduction, Brian. There's, where do we start? Well, first of all, I think we start by thanking you, because this wouldn't take place today if we hadn't done a job of work back in our workplaces to secure a fantastic union, which is now Unite. And I completely agree with the ending comments from Brian in terms of where we are right now is losing the legacy T&G and the legacy Amicus and building a union together that fights back on behalf of working people. And I'm not going to make any comment, to be fair, about what's going on within the section in respect to national officers. What I'm here to do is send a message of absolute solidarity and support to our members out there that are facing very real struggles in crisis, being confronted with employers right now, up and down this country, in any location you share to mention, with any employer represented within our sector in the most opportunistic way to attack our members' terms and conditions of employment, our union's representatives and your paying conditions. That's the reality of it. And if there is a message that needs to go out from this conference, it's one of solidarity, it is one of dignity, it is one of respect, it is one of standing together solidly behind one another as very proud Unite members and trade unionists. This is about representing working people and fighting back on behalf of the people that pay our wages as officers and support you in the place of work. So that's my message to this conference, and we all need with a message of solidarity for not just colleagues right now in struggle, and we're going to enter a very significant struggle here with British Airways in the not too distant future, believe me. But there are colleagues up and down the country in very small pockets of organisation, working for relatively small employers in every section of this industry, whether you're on the ground, whether you're a refueller, whether you're a caterer, whether you're a baggage handler, whether you're checking, ticketing, call centering, or doing anything else in this industry, that are in struggle right now. We get on average 4 ballots a week kicking off in this sector, and our members are in struggle and they want support from this union. And I'm standing here offering absolute 150% support to our members. And I know Brian does as well. So colleagues, there's a top table here, our executive members as well, and our chair, there's 150% support to our members, wherever they might be right now, in struggle. And we're not under any illusions here. We know that this is an industry in crisis. We know that aviation's taken a particularly bad hit as a consequence of the global recession. There's not an industry, there's not a sector in our union, there's not an industry in this country that's not been affected by this global recession. And aviation is certainly at the forefront of many of the changes that employers are trying to drive home right now. All of the power within our sector is within the carriers section. And the carriers are negotiating contracts where they're taking 10 and 15% out of agreed prices with all those that are supplying labour and contract services within every airport in which we organise. And that's putting pressure on everybody. So while we're fighting right now in British Airways on behalf of not just cabin crew, because if there's a success in imposing those sorts of changes on our cabin crew community in BA, you watch them come for our A-Scales check-in service community, you watch them come for our ground staff, you watch them come in our engineering department, because they'll sweep through British Airways if they get away with the changes they want to impose and we're soft enough to allow that to happen. Well, that's not going to happen, comrades. And there are 14,000 people balloting right now as a consequence of BA's actions, and it is going to hit people, and it is difficult in the run-up to Christmas to explain that you're going into a dispute with a company, and that's going to have a direct impact on people's travel plans at Christmas and the rest of it. Well, we've got to do what we've got to do. The timing of this dispute is not our choice. The issues in this dispute are not our choice. But we will react to any employer that wants to impose change on our members. It's completely and absolutely unacceptable, and we will get a yes vote in that ballot, and we will respond appropriately once we get that ballot result on the 14th of December. So just watch this space in terms of where we are with BA. But this is not just an issue with British Airways. There are carriers, and not just in aviation, there are employers that are looking at what happens within British Airways right now. And now this union faces up to the challenge of imposition. And it doesn't matter whether it's aviation or in the motor industry or in finance or public services or wherever it might be. Government are looking at us right now and judging how we react, how do we respond to a major player, a blue chip, national flag carrier, when they impose change on our people. How does this union respond to the challenges that that throws up? Because if we don't respond powerfully, if we don't respond with a very clear vision, a strategy and a message to British Airways, you watch them come knocking on your door. And it won't just be about your terms and conditions, it'll be about your trade union facilities. It'll be a tax on you as shop stewards yourselves. So we're in a real crisis right now in our sector. It's not just a financial crisis, it's a structural crisis. There are all sorts of changes emerging within our aviation sector, and many of them are internationally driven. So it doesn't matter where you work, and I pay tribute to every single one of our representatives, and wherever I stand I always say thanks to our stewards. Thanks not just to you, to your colleagues back on the shop floor that day in, day out make this union the great union that it is. Because without you doing what you do day in, day out, free of charge, voluntarily, on behalf of our people, we wouldn't be a union. We may as well pack up and go home if you're not supporting, if you're not doing the business, if you're not organising workers to stand proud as trade unionists and fight back as appropriate. So it is a big thanks. It's a big thanks from Brian, it's a big thanks from your executive, it's a big thanks from our team, to every one of you, but also a message back to every one of your stewards on the ground. You are the lifeblood of this union. And whilst this might be the first conference, I'm so proud to stand alongside you here today at the first aviation sector conference of our new union, because this is about making policy. And I know we've only got 4 motions to discuss later, but that's not an indication of what's going on in this sector. What's going on in this sector drives us into all sorts of areas that are not represented in the motions that we have before us. But our challenges for us, and we'll pick up at National Committee during the course of the next period. So this is about you making a future for this section. This is a lay member democracy. This is not about myself and Brian and the executive determining our industrial strategy. This is about you determining our response. This is about you determining the industrial response that we'll put forward across our sector in all the different industrial groups that we represent workers in. So when you come to vote on motions this afternoon, don't just stick your hand up because you like what it says on a bit of paper. Stick your hand up because you're prepared to deliver. You share the vision. You want to join a fight back. You're going to deliver what we say in the motion when we get back onto the shop floor and start talking to our members. Because I'm a counter-resolutionary.